Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Elle here with another video, and for today's video, as I'm sure you can see from the title, I'm going to be taking you guys through some Black author book recommendations. That's how you say it. I don't know why I couldn't form that in my head, but yeah. I'm going to be taking you through some recommendations. It's Black History Month, as I'm sure you guys know, so we're just celebrating Black history, Black authors, Black excellence in general. Obviously, you should do it all year round, but this is definitely a great month to do that. So, yeah, we're going to jump into some recommendations, but before we do that, make sure you were following me on my social media, especially my Instagram this month, because I'm posting lots of other fun Black history content there as well. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe before you go.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly, look in my eyes.
Okay, so when I was getting ready to film this video, I was trying to gather all the books that I wanted to share with you guys and recommend, and I can't even find half of them, which is really, really weird and annoying because I feel like my books are just going missing, and I feel like some sort of like little golem or gnome is like sneaking into my room that night and taking my books, and it's just weird. So, but that's fine because I will post pictures of them on the screen, and I do have some of them here to show you as well, so it's fine. We will make do with it as best we can. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So the first book that I want to recommend for you guys, I actually have the second, like the sequel to it, and I don't know where it is, and they're two books that I absolutely love, and that's Dear Martin and Dear Justice. I'm thinking of doing a review for both of these books at some point during the month, so I'm only going to give you a brief synopsis. The first one is following our main character, Justice, who is just this really good kid. He goes to a very prominent and affluent private high school, and he wants to go to Yale. He's got amazing grades, and he's just always been on the correct path, I guess, the correct path, if you will, until he finds himself on the wrong side of the law, in a sense, where him and his cousin are driving, and they have the music turned way up, and they fall to the hands of a very angry white racist cop, and things go south from there. And in order to kind of cope with the situation at hand, Justice finds himself writing letters to Martin Luther King, in order to, as like a coping mechanism for everything that's going on, and for trying to like seek out ways to deal with the hand that he's now been dealt. It's a really beautiful book. I thoroughly enjoyed it, as well as Dear Justice. We are following another character from this book who finds himself again on the wrong side of the law, but there's a main difference in how him and Justice were brought up and the paths that they took to kind of get each other to where they're at. Two kids from the same neighborhood, very different paths, very different outcomes, and I really liked the contrast in Dear Justice. Now, the character that I don't want to give away who we're following, but the character that we're following in Dear Justice, as I said, finds himself on the wrong side of the law and finds himself writing letters to Justice to cope with everything that he's currently dealing with. Both books are beautifully done. I love Nick Stone's writing. I love how concise she is. I can't recommend them enough. Definitely pick up both of them and read them back to back. It's so beautiful, and definitely a great month to pick up both of these books. Dogs are mad about something. The next book that I want to recommend to you guys is Punching the Air by Yusuf Salaam and Ibi Zobi. I recently read this one. It's written in verse, and it's so beautifully done. It's a very quick read, which I enjoyed. And as I said, because it's written by Yusuf Salaam, he is a member of the Exonerated Five, and if you don't know who they are, you should. And if you don't, you should go watch the documentary When They See Us on Netflix, and that'll give you the whole backstory into who Yusuf Salaam and the other four very important and influential men are, and the tragic story behind them. But yeah, so Yusuf Salaam had a hand in writing this. We are following our main character. What was his name again? Amal. We're following our main character, Amal, who finds himself in juvie for a crime he didn't commit, and we're just kind of following his journey and the way that he copes with it, and the way that, you know, justice for all really isn't justice for all at all. It's very one-sided, and it's definitely not colorblind. So It's a very impactful and hard-hitting story. I really loved the way that it was written, and reading like the little blurb at the back where, you know, Yusuf Salam talks about his hand in the book and meeting Ibi Zobi and the two of them coming together and putting this work of art together. I really enjoyed it, so I would definitely recommend it. It's beautifully written, absolutely stunning. So definitely pick this up if you can, and give it a try. It's so quick, like, and there's artwork, like, let me find it. Hold on. Like there's borders on some of the page. Yes, here. I just lost it, of course. Give me 2 seconds. I'll find it back. Like, here we go. So some of these pages like have a really pretty doodles and stuff on it, and they go with what is going on in the book, and I love the correlation between it. I love the backstory that we get for Amal, and I love how the story unravels itself and how we kind of get to discover what really happened. And I'm very, very happy that I was able to get my hands on it and read it, and now that I'm able to recommend it to you guys. So yeah, definitely look out for this one. The next book that I have is Dreamland Burning by Jennifer Latham. Jennifer Latham is actually, I believe she's white. Pretty sure she's white. But it is a story of, it's a dual perspective historical fiction, if you will. So we are following our main character, Rowan, in present day as she discovers a body in her family's pool house. And then we jump back to history of the 1920s, right before the Tulsa riot, right? Yeah, I'm so good. Yeah. Right before the Tulsa riot. And we get to kind of discover whose body it is, how it got there, and we get to see the events just before the Tulsa riot, and kind of a little bit of what happened after. And I was really excited to get my hands on this, and it definitely didn't disappoint. I listened to the audiobook version of this. If you can get your hands on the audiobook, it is on Audible, not sponsored, but it is on Audible. If you can listen to the audiobook, I would highly recommend it. I loved listening to the audiobook. I loved every second of it. The cast was amazing. I think the representation was done very well. Rowan is a mixed main character. Her mom is Black, her dad is white. And we get a lot of insight into that too, which I really enjoyed. And I loved the historical perspective of it and following the timeline and kind of trying to piece together whose body is in the house. Yeah, it was really beautifully done. I thoroughly enjoyed the audiobook. I can't even express to you guys how much I loved the audiobook. It was really well done. So definitely pick this book up if you can. And like I said, grab the audiobook if you can as well. The next book that I want to recommend to you guys is Grown by Tiffany Jackson. I feel like last year during my Black author recommendation, I think I recommended Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany Jackson, which is also really good. But anyways, this year I want to recommend Grown. Again, recent read for me, and I will actually be doing a review on this month. So again, I'm going to give you a very brief synopsis, but we are following our main character, Enchanted, who is an aspiring R&B singer. She is in her last year of high school. She's 17, so she's in her last year of high school, and she gets discovered by this famous R&B singer, Corey Fields, and everything just happens really fast. She gets taken on this whirlwind of a ride because Corey promises the sun, the moon, and the stars and a way to propel her career, and everything seems great on the outside, but then we quickly realize that, you know, Corey has this dark side to him that's very possessive and very scary, and there's a thriller aspect to it because one morning Enchanted wakes up in a hotel room and Corey Fields is dead, and she has no idea what happened, and then the police and her dad are knocking on the door, and everybody has questions as to what the heck happened. I really like this book. This is something that kept me up until like 2 a.m. because I just needed to finish it. I wanted to know what happened. There are a lot of moving parts in this book. There is a lot of foreshadowing, so pay attention because like the little details matter, and I love how Tiffany Jackson writes. So I thoroughly enjoyed my time. I listened to the audiobook of Monday's Not Coming, but I read this one physically and I enjoyed it just as much as Monday's Not Coming. So definitely get your hands on this one if you can. And yeah, also look out for a more in-depth review for this book later on this month. Oh, I should also mention there are a ton of trigger warnings for this book, and hold on. Yeah, all the trigger warnings are on the inside of the book. I'll just tell you, mentions of sexual abuse, rape, assault, child abuse, kidnapping, and addiction to opiates. So there are trigger warnings just to make you guys aware of that. The next book that I have is Keeping the Night Watch, and this is by Hope Atina Smith. I picked this book up on a whim, and I didn't think that I was going to really care for it as much as I did. This book has actually got a very special place in my heart right now. We are following our main character, who has kind of had to take like the man at the house role because his father left for about a year, and he got used to kind of taking the lead role in the house, but then his father comes back. So it's kind of about that power dynamic switch and the distrust that our main character has for his father, and his father trying to kind of, gain his family back. His other siblings are ready to kind of welcome his father back with open arms, but then our main character is very skeptical because he's seen the heartbreak that his family has gone through without his father. So this, again, is very short. It's also written in verse. There are some beautiful, beautiful lines in this book. It's absolutely stunning. And I'm pretty sure, I want to say it's a middle grade book. I think it has to be a middle grade book. It's a middle grade book. But regardless, it's absolutely stunning. The illustrations in here are really, really beautiful, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this book, and I would highly recommend it to you guys. The last physical book that I have to recommend for you guys before I start putting up a field of pictures on the screen is Hair Love, and that is by Matthew A. Cherry. So, okay, I first saw Hair Love, the little video, or like the film short on YouTube, and I actually cried watching it. So when I figured out that I could get my hands on the book, you better believe I did that hella quick. I absolutely love this book, and I'm really, really excited to be able to share it with my daughter if I ever have one day, or even my son. It's just a really beautiful, beautiful story. It's obviously a children's book, where the illustrations for it are gorgeous. Like, look at that. It's so pretty. We're following this little girl who is learning how to deal with her hair. And, African Americans have a wide array of hair textures, and just density and stuff to our hair. It's like a whole spectrum of our hair. And she's got very coarse, curly hair, and she's trying to figure out how to deal with it. And that's all I'm really going to say, because it's a kid's book, so it's very, very short. You can also just go watch the film short on YouTube. It's so, so sweet, and I absolutely adore it. And it warms my heart reading this book and watching the film, because I know how difficult it is to deal with your hair as a Black female. And while it may not seem like such a big deal to non-people of color, it's huge, because your hair, what is it that my grandma used to say? Your hair is your crown. Your hair is something that you can use in style in a way to make you feel pretty, and when you can't do that, it has a huge impact on you, and it can really impact your self-esteem growing up. So being able to watch the film short and read the book, it warmed my heart. It really makes me smile. I absolutely adore this book, so I would definitely recommend it to you guys. If you guys I know some of you guys have kids, definitely recommend that you share this one with your kids as well. Okay, so I'm now going to jump in to the books that I can't find but still want to recommend to you guys on my laptop. So the first one is In the Land of Milk and Honey. It's another kids book similar to Hair Love. We're following this family who is moving to California, and they refer to it as the Land of Milk and Honey. It's just very, very sweet, very endearing. The illustrations are beautiful. So yeah, I would recommend that to you guys. I don't tend to recommend a lot of kids books or middle grade books, but I wanted to add a couple to this list as well, because like I said, I know some of you guys have kids, and that would be a really fun one to share with your kids too. The next one that I wanted to recommend is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I'm actually distraught that I can't find this book right now, because Elizabeth Acevedo is one of my favorite authors, if not my favorite author. So I need to be able to find this book. But we're following two sisters who don't know about each other, or that they're sisters, and they don't get to know about each other until the father that they share passes away. So yeah, we're following their story, and we're following the tragic accident that takes their father. He dies in a plane crash that was going to the Dominican Republic from the U.S. Going to the Dominican Republic from the U.S. So yeah, we get to follow their story. It's beautifully done. It's also written in verse, so it's very, very quick. I listened to the audiobook for it, which is narrated by Elizabeth Acevedo's one sister, and I can't remember the other lady's name who narrates the other sister, but the two of them do a beautiful job, and I really hope that we get to see a part 2 to that book, because I would like to see the girls journey together for a little bit more. So yeah, that's definitely another one that you guys could check out. The next book that I wanted to recommend to you guys is Black Girl Unlimited, and that is by Elle.K. Brown. It's a how do I say it? It's a magical realism book. So I don't have a ton of experience with magical realism. I'm pretty sure that's only the second magical realism book that I've read, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We are following our main character from childhood all the way up to her applying to and like going to universities, like young adulthood, and I really appreciated that aspect of it, because very rarely in YA do we get to see kind of like the full life. Well, obviously not the full life, because you don't just like cease to exist once you apply to university or whatever, but like the full life ish, or like a lifespan for a character, and I really appreciated that. But we, like I said, we're following our main character from childhood all the way up to young adulthood, and she lives in a very, very rough neighborhood with a very tragic family backstory, and it's a lot, and watching her overcome and persevere is really, really beautiful, and there's a magical element to it, which is also really cool. So yeah, there's also trigger warnings for that one as well, but I don't remember all of them, so I would just look into that before you pick the book up. Okay, and then the last two are My Sister the Serial Killer. This book had me cracking up, which is awful because it shouldn't be funny, but there are aspects of it that I was just like, yo, this is hilarious. I can't pronounce the author's name, but I will have the book on the screen somewhere for you guys to see. We were following these two sisters. So the older sister is very responsible, very put together, very orderly. The younger sister is not, but the younger sister is regarded as the more beautiful one. However, the younger sister is the one with the problem of killing her boyfriends. And the older sister has a habit of helping her cover it up until the younger sister gets the attention of a guy that the older sister also has a crush on. So now we have to ask ourselves, how far will you go for family? And will she actually be able to protect the guy that she likes? And it's a lot, and it's great. It's such a fun roller coaster. Again, trigger warnings, but the overall story is very fun. And I listened to the audiobook for this one as well. Beautifully done. I'm trying to remember if it was a full cast. I don't think it was a complete full cast, but regardless, it was amazing. So definitely look at My Sister the Serial Killer, because that's just a great ride. And the last book that I want to recommend is Ghost Boys. I have a full review of Ghost Boys on my channel, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but we are following our main character who is shot and killed by a cop, and we are following his ghost, and we get to watch him kind of watch the whole trial process and the aftermath of his death take place, and we get to actually see it through his eyes, because like I said, we're following his ghost. That is a middle grade story. Our main character is I believe he's 12 years old. Yeah, he's 12 years old. So that was a very interesting perspective for a story. I definitely didn't expect it to be as hard-hitting as it was, because it's a middle grade and I was not prepared. But it's beautiful, and it was one that I hope gets adapted into schools. I think it's a great book to share with children. It's just a really great doorway into Black history and the tragedy that Black people had to endure. So definitely check out my full review for that if you're interested in it, and also pick up the book and give it a try. But yeah, guys, so that brings us to the end of this video. That's all the recommendations that I want to give you guys for this month. I hope that, you guys got to hear about a few books that interested you and that you might give a try. Let me know in the comments down below if any of them did interest you, and if you think that you're going to pick any of them up, or what books you plan on reading this month, or, if there's any other books by Black authors that you would like to recommend. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm always looking for new recommendations, and I love hearing what you guys think. So yeah, that is the end of this section of the video. Stick around if you would like to hear another fact about Black history. Okay guys, so the fact that I want to share with you about Black history today kind of builds off of the one that I shared with you in my previous video where I talked about my TBR. So if you haven't seen that video, go and watch it, but I'm going to build off of the fact that I shared with you in that video regarding the Montgomery bus boycott. I think, or what I don't think a lot of people realize, is the Montgomery bus boycott is kind of what propelled Martin Luther King to the forefront of the civil rights movement. That's where he really got his footing and really got to kind of shine as a civil rights activist and leader. And after the Montgomery bus boycott is what paved the way for a lot of other widespread demonstrations to take place throughout the US, including the March on Washington, where Martin Luther King gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. So I really love the Montgomery bus boycott as a whole because it really set the civil rights movement off on a great foot, and it's just a catalyst for a lot of things to kind of spiral off after it, including the illustrious career of Martin Luther King and the impact that he was able to have, and just the change that he was able to create all started with that boycott. So yeah, I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but now you do. And that's pretty much it for this video. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.